Postal is one of the darkest and most uncompromising games that any game studio would fear to publish in today's day and age. When compared to its more upbeat sequel, Postal 2, the differences in tonality are instantly seen, where one game has funny interactions, popular jokes and references,
only my weapon understands me.
Another explores the messed up psychological horrors that occur when the pressures of society are just too much to handle. I personally only picked up the first game, as a friend recommended me to play the Postal series. I decided it was a good idea, considering it was free on Steam, and it was the first game in the franchise, so I'd be able to see how the recent games came to be. I was not expecting for a seemingly silly, joke-like series of games to have such a dark and grueling predecessor. Postal was originally released to macOS and Windows on September 24th, 1997, and was developed by the game studio Running with Scissors and published by Ripcord Games. Developers at Rydell Software Productions, namely Vince Desi, became bored of creating child-friendly projects that the company had been working on up to this point, like Tom and Jerry, Bobby's World, and also working on various games developed for Disney, Warner Brothers, and Sesame Street. So around 1996, multiple developers branched off from the company to form the Running with Scissors label, which was used as a pathway to make the mature games that they wanted to play. The developers at Running with Scissors took the phrase "going postal" that originated during the mass shootings where USPS workers shot managers, co-workers, police officers, and civilians from around 1986 and onwards, and created the first Postal game. The game received backlash before it was even released, with the USPS actually attempting to sue Running with Scissors to prevent the brand from selling the game, as it was considered an unfair portrayal of Postal employees. The lawsuit was eventually settled in mid-2003 after Postal 2 had already been released. The barrage of hate didn't stop there. Upon the game's release, critic reception was a mixed bag, with various Metacritic reviews at an average of around 52 out of 100 points, describing the game's atmosphere and sounds as quite disturbing in their realism and inhumane, cold-blooded killing. The public press also had a shot at criticizing the game.
The wall poster of the big E3 computer game show in Atlanta bears the unmistakable image of an AK-47 rifle.
In the end, the game was banned in several countries, including Germany and New Zealand, and censored in the European version of Postal, where executions via the M16, or machine gun, were removed, and the entire final sequence also being cut from the game. Straight from the beginning, the main menu attempts to disintegrate the insides of your eardrums with its music, if you would like to call it that. The only thing I heard when loading into the game was my soul leaving my body. The menu isn't much of a sight for sore eyes, or ears for that matter, as the interface of the game consists of bloody, torn-up parchment paper enveloped by crude imagery that makes me somewhat uneasy when I look at it. Take the front menu screen for example. What do you see? A completely unidentifiable man standing inside a dark cave of sorts, as the entire image is seemingly distorted and is made to appear petrifying to whoever is looking at it, likely symbolizing the ear-scorching screams of the mouth that looms over the mysterious man. Each menu interaction consists of nothing but a screech, a bullet case dropping, or a heartbeat. The Postal Dude speculates that mind-altering inhibitors have been released upon his town, Paradise, infecting the town's populations with behaviors such as insanity and bloodlust. Upon being evicted from his house, he believes he is the only truly unaffected victim of the gas release. He inferences that the agent was released by a local Air Force base, and he truly believes that the fate of the world rests in his hands. He believes himself to be a hero. October 17th, 1997. The earth is hungry. Its heart throbs and demands cleansing. The earth is also thirsty. We are greeted with a loading screen that closely resembles the main menu screen of the game, with the same screaming mouth accompanied by a bloody and grueling background that is filled with a few loose jingle bells and seemingly empty bullet cartridges. The game begins at your house. A recently evicted Postal Dude begins to move his way up to the base. He is met with police force, as well as some other hostiles that attempt to stop him. However, he plows his way through the resistance, seemingly mocking his victims with several remarks and taunts as he mows down an entire town of people. He makes his way through the town, slowly killing off most of the police force. October 17th, 1997. Blessed are the meek, for they make easy targets. This level presents a dark alleyway with multiple bodies on the ground, seemingly tortured or plagued by whoever or whatever did this to them. Moving on, the postal dude continues to a local truck stop where he slaughters police officers and hostiles. Again. You know, I think I know why the people said this game was boring and tedious. It is literally the exact same thing over and over again. I feel like poorly analyzing this game's loading screens might actually be a little more fun than playing the game. It seems very counterintuitive that the best part of the game is the part that you aren't really meant to spend much time on. I mean, loading screens are literally just waiting periods for the game to load and render everything. It's not supposed to be the main event, right? October 17th, 1997. The air ripens with the odors of the dead and dying. It smells like victory. At this point, it seems like the postal dude is truly starting to enjoy the bloodlust and just killing people. This is visibly shown by the seemingly distorted image that is presented to us during the transition. It now shows a warped image of a forest accompanied with a warm yellow-orange tint, likely representing the now warped state of his own mind, craving for the killing of even more people to save the world. This map is quite similar to the others, where you are placed into said map, and then tasked with killing with a certain percentage of the people. Did I forget to mention that? Yeah, that thing at the top with the 2 percentages is actually a requirement to move on to the next level. You need at least 90% to beat this level, and the percentage varies as you go on. Also, you press F1 to move on to the next level. October 18th, 1997. A glorious symphony of slaughter. 76 tromboners led the death parade. The loading screen opens up and we are once again thrown into a dark alley, just like the truck stop. This time, however, the scene is more grueling. Blood is splattered around the alleyway and is seemingly full of it. This time, the multiple bodies look crushed and shot multiple times. The entire scene looks uncanny in a sense. Of course, this is expected with a game and loading screens like this, but it seems different. We enter the level and we are met with a marching band. So I threw all my Molotovs at it. I had a lot of fun. October 18th, 1997. Life is cheap. Death is free. Act now. Supplies are limited. Offer void in Arizona. The bridge offers a cute little picture of the best British dental care around. You can just see the quality and care that the British government has just put into the crafting the most perfect free healthcare there is. Just look at the detail and whiteness of this. In all seriousness, it is getting quite repetitive for me during this point, but I find it cool that the game decides to attempt changing things up, at least in a small way. The way the map is set up, you need to make your way through a tight and congested bridge to move on to the next area. You are forced to travel through the bridge where a bunch of hostiles are waiting just for you. It makes the entire game kind of change up pace where you are forced to engage to progress. At least in other levels, you are able to retreat and in a way flank around your enemies to get the jump on them. Here, there's only one path, straight on. October 18th, 1997. Furious fireflies materialize against the cavern wall and sunder the earth into dust. Come, little insects, and see the web we've woven. We move on to the 6th level, where we begin to see the slow deterioration of the postal dude's mind, with the landscape and color grading of the image we are presented with becoming more of a distorted and jumble of warm colors. We are also presented with a dark figure seemingly observing the dead, or potentially unconscious body, of a presumed mine worker. The level is made up of a bunch of corridors in which enemies basically line up for you just to throw a Molotov at them. The level is surprisingly easy, given the fact that there is a bunch of cover and the winding pathways, that the AI is just too stupid to outsmart us and put us in our grave. In this level, we are introduced to the miner guys, or at least I'm pretty sure we encounter them in this level, and all they throw is dynamite. That's honestly the only interesting thing. October 19th, 1997. I will don the eviscerated organs of my enemies as party hats, wear their shredded entrails as neckties, and oh, how I shall dance. I wish I could say something interesting about this level, other than this is literally just the same thing that I have already mentioned in the previous levels. The background picture for this level was indiscernible in my opinion, so sorry if me not seeing the significance of the postal dude's left testicle that was geniusly hidden by the devs in this loading screen completely ruined this video for you. Click off. Now. Honestly, I had a lot of fun in this game, so it really hurts me to just make these tiny little reviews about each of the levels. I truly do wish that there was something else to talk about, but this is really all that I could come up with. October 19th, 1997. Human trash spills from its containers as death rains down upon them, sweeping the streets in a cleansing cloudburst of blood. Nothing really to say here for the Postal fans, just killing, firebombing, and finishing the level. October 19th, 1997. Next stop, Armageddon, the River Styx, Hades, and all the points in between. All aboard. This picture reminds me of that one Pokemon, you know, the one that wears the skull and everything? Yeah, this thing. I mean, you cannot tell me it's literally not the same picture. Or maybe I'm just tweaking. The level is pretty standard, but now with a train and everything, and like a train station, big shocker. October 20th, 1997. Feathers will fly, but big birds won't. They will, however, be going south this winter. Far south. I really liked this level. This level first made me realize that the ostriches exist. It was a complete surprise for me, and inherently pretty funny for me. It's the same typical stuff for a postal level, so really nothing in my opinion that I should be sharing. Although, what I do want to share is this picture I made in MS Paint. Look, I know it looks terrible, but let me have some fun in my life. I really liked drawing this. October 20th, 1997. Blood splinters everywhere, like a river, flowing around me, pulling me in its wake. Paradise! Prepare for deconstruction. This level was a little interesting, mostly because of the unfinished building and such, but again, nothing to add to what has already been said about these levels. Sorry, Postal devs. October 20th, 1997. Black leather smoke coils up in my nostrils, tingling with death's surprise. Human remnants cling to my clothing like bloody briars as I continue to wade, hip deep in flesh, bone, and viscera. Bad neighborhood coming up. There's literally nothing for me to explain in this image. It's literally just like a hole, a crack, a loophole in the matrix.
Kill yourself now!
There's like 2 seconds of gameplay. Awesome, let's move on. October 21st, 1997. I'm the celestial gardener, polishing the planet of the stinkweeds and poisons which leak out even through the cracks in the cold asphalt sidewalks of the city of sin. So, my mistake. Apparently the little hole we were talking about was a portal to a different universe. Lit. I have no idea what is happening in this picture, like a little alien or something. Maybe the postal dude. It's too distorted for me, and let's be real, the quality of this video by now has probably completely degraded, and nobody's watching up to this point. But all that I can infer with this image is that this is the postal dude, and the wide-out arms he's demonstrating is him attempting to grasp over the city, or maybe it's just made for intimidation. October 21st, 1997. No day in the park. Too much of the blood on me is mine. But the day is not done, and I've miles to go to make them sleep. Peanuts, anyone? I don't know at this point. This is maybe the postal dude just lying there on the ground or something, heavily wounded. Or maybe this is another victim that he has taken. I'm not sure. The level is literally just a little park, and this is literally the same thing over and over again. I don't understand how the developers had the patience to craft levels for this game, and even go on to make the same things in the special delivery and Super Postal expansions. Huge respect to the Running with Scissors team back in 1996. October 21st, 1997. Feast upon the frozen images of molten massacre as the machineries of death grind relentlessly, mindlessly on. October 22nd, 1997. From the halls of the Vatican to the runways of truth, we are there, at the place called Climax, and the time called Now. When it's done, let the gods sort it out. The last level presents the Postal Dude in his regular form, standing behind broken glass and wielding what seems to be the machine gun. So here it is, the final stage. The Postal Dude was technically looking for the entire game. The Air Force Base. The location from which the Postal Dude suspects a mind-altering inhibitor was released. Maybe this is his last chance to rethink everything. Does he really want to kill all of these people in the end and risk death? What if all of this is just a very... October 23rd, 1997. The hive has been cleansed. The source of corruption has been corked, laid in a body bag and dragged to the outskirts of existence. Now, this final level appears to be the Postal Dude shooting up the school, claiming that to end all of the evil in the city, he must defeat the evil from the source. In the image, we could see a dark figure, potentially the Postal Dude, or the virus that has infected him to believe and behave this way. He is placed in the middle of an eye-shaped figure and is likely expressed to be the iris of this ominous eye. Now, when the game was released, the final level was heavily distorted in understanding and meaning in the media, which claimed that you could actually shoot up the school and kill the children residing in the play area. However, this never was the case, and the entire thing was just a cutscene where his weapons didn't work at all. At the time of the game's release, such an event was considered unthinkable and detached from reality to the Postal devs in 1997. However, due to a tragic increase in real-world school shootings, including Columbine, a major school shooting, the developers of Postal completely replaced the ending in the 2016 remake of the game titled Postal Redux to better reflect the current times to avoid depicting such sensitive content. By the way, I'm not going to be covering the remake, even though it goes on sale for like $1 on Steam, because I'm completely broke. After this level, the game technically ended, but I would like to go over the special packages and DLC that the Postal crew developed for us to enjoy the same thing we've been doing for the entire game. This is where I have to bring up Postal Special Delivery, which was an expansion pack to Postal and was released on August 28th, 1998 by Running with Scissors. The DLC adds 4 new levels to the single-player campaign and was basically a better version of Postal with updated NPCs, improved netcode, a rebalanced multiplayer that you sadly cannot play anymore because the servers are completely shut down, and co-op for the single-player campaign that suffered the same fate. Now, there is no explanation to how the Postal Dude even got out of his asylum or hospital or whatnot, and all we have received was this war journal that was on the back cover of the game's box. I woke up from the strangest dream this morning. My head is pounding. Who came in here and moved around all my furniture? I'd better find out. January 20th, 1998. Watch for falling prices, falling employees, falling customers, incoming missiles, and blood puddles. We are once again greeted with the legendary pictures that the game's artists have created for us. A black and red mixed blob of nothing comprehensible. Thanks, game. We are spawned into the level, and we are greeted with the Postal Dude questioning,
What? You don't sell Postal?
which is the first sentence that I've heard him say that wasn't directly taunting his victims' slow and brutal deaths. The level progresses as usual, with the regular killing of hostiles and such, and we are thrown into the next level. January 22nd, 1998. The earth is thirsty. It also seems to have soiled itself. Another incomprehensible image. I personally have no idea what is happening in this image except the thing on the right side that kind of looks like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. The level is, as you expect, a shanty town, and I suppose the Postal just decided to include everyone in the misery by further traumatizing and obliterating the memories and possessions from people that had nothing to begin with. Great job, Postal Dude. January 21st, 1998. The earth was hungry, so it ate some people. Alright, this is literally just a splatter. I mean, come on, game. Put some more effort in. I would be exhausted of the same thing over and over again, so I'm sure these types of artworks just made the loads easier on the artists. Good job to them for even sticking up to this point. I know I couldn't have. I probably would have gone Postal. The Earth sure was hungry, however, as the entire city looks completely collapsed and in ruins. So what's the harm in killing all the suffering civilians in this town? I do want to say that I really liked this map, and it was kind of something new, and honestly it changed the typical dark and grey landscape that we are so used to seeing in the game. The level had a bunch of little Easter eggs that I honestly cannot recall, but they were pretty cool to see. January 23rd, 1998. Did someone say they've fallen and can't get up? This loading screen looks at least a little interesting. See, it has a little bell in the center of the screen. But in all seriousness, this level was a little tiny, and I was kind of disappointed considering this was the last level in the expansion pack. However, I do want to say that the vibrant coloring and bright look of everything really makes the game look more fascinating and interesting. Now, Super Postal is a version of Postal that was specifically designed for the Japanese market. This version completes the game with a Japanese dub and 2 extra levels, Tokyo and Osaka. The developers contemplated adding these extra levels to the base game when Postal first released on Steam, but was later added with a community update patch later down the line. So let's jump into these new levels then. October 20th, 1999. Watch the river run, flowing with bubbling blood. The end. It is near. Oh, this title screen looks a little whack, I gotta say. Well, it retains the style that the Postal devs had at the end of the game and everything with this red color scheme and everything. Little moai or something in front of Tokyo and a mountain at the back. I think my main issue with this level is that it is seemingly more difficult than all the other levels. Maybe it's because I personally am not familiar with the layout of these levels because the design differs a lot from the norm. It's got square alleyways and such. Everything is organized and so compact that it's hard to flank and outmaneuver hostiles here. My least favorite section is the park area, or whatever, and I just couldn't figure out how to avoid the bombs. I had to retry this level a lot more times solely because of these bombs and literally just the spark. After that, it was really easy, and I even read that there's an Easter egg where you can hear Godzilla scream, but I don't think I got that footage. October 20th, 1999. The footprint you see. Godzilla has formed for you. Your city laid waste. Now, this loading screen appears to be a bloody katana and a little spider in the back, as well as some Japanese writing on the left side. Nothing to speculate here in my opinion, it's just kind of a drawing with no point in my opinion. The level is pretty much the same as everything else, but I would like to point out that the idea for the 3 little bridges that you can cross was a pretty interesting idea, offering you multiple ways to clear out the level. But by this point, I was just so tired of doing the same thing over and over again, so I didn't really pay attention and attempted to finish the level as soon as I could. And with that, I think I've covered most of what the game has to offer. I'm sure that I missed a bunch of things in this video, so sorry to all the dedicated Postal fans that might watch my video. Although, I highly doubt it. And if I did leave anything out, I would love to hear you write about it in the comments. I think it'd be really fun for me to read all of your comments and everything. In the end, despite its very simplistic and isometric gameplay, the first Postal game has become infamous for its unapologetic violence and controversial topics, which led to it gaining a cult audience and multiple sequels, including Postal 2, Postal 3, Postal 4, and Postal Brain Damaged, which all embraced a little more comedical and satirical tone compared to their predecessor. No matter what people say, Postal 1 is sure to be one of the greatest and most influential games in history, and no opinion, mine or critics, will ever objectively change that truth. If you did stick to the end of the video, which I highly doubt anyone did, I'm going to punish you by making you watch one of my Postal edits. Yeah. It's the first edit that I've ever made. So, feel free to shame me in the comments and, have a good day.
Population pressure and the stress of modern life may cause an increase in violent tendencies. The urban environment is the incubator for all sorts of undesirable